Dans le bang, yuan dian da lam du du, ram me nian da zhang de nian jie. Rinpo jie ri wo ba sam jie jie, du jie yu ba ma le ba ye lo. Ko lo rinpo jie, lo bo rinpo jie, zo bo rinpo jie, lo bo rinpo jie. Lambo Rinpoche, Dajo Rinpoche, Mabe Rinpoche, Deje Baye Bo Baye. Le Ma Gara Ma Mendo Ma Deve Ma Naze Ma Deja Ma Nye Ma Dao. Rinpoche De Jole Namba Jeve Jaze Wuzo Ladami Bejo Bezo. Mazawa meba zanje yedo wongwa deda denje zawa dan juba jebe bande lama deya yo nye nye nga da dende le do zene ando je jan jembe la do godan jeba na Chingan Bawa Jiwo Jembe Sonje Zangmo Jena Juveya Chingan Bawa Jiwo Toje Juve Dendo Jezo Zo Jene Janda Zo Jowa Majona Semje Damje La Do Zewa Jembe Gone Shenje La Do Lo Joy Melo Rama Nye Ye Ba De Zan Ye Je Do Me De Ye Do Nama Ye La Je Ba Nam Ba Ye Nama Ye Jo Ga Zambe Do Je Ma La Zaba Ye Ju Cha Wa Lo Da Guru Kamneya Daya Me. Yeah. So those of you who have refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, if you have taken refuge in the past, then we'll recite this refuge prayer. You can refresh them, just like in the past when first time when you took refuge. Similarly, this very time that you're refreshing them, the similar kind of attitude. Buddha as a understanding who adorned with the perfected qualities in all the virtues, perfected in all the beneficial attitudes, like such as compassion, love, altruism, and wisdom of selfless, wisdom of emptiness, wisdom of omniscient. So there's no more perfected
teacher than the Buddha. So then yourself as a trained, someone who inspired to cultivate good attitude, beneficial wisdoms. So therefore, taking Buddha as your teacher, taking Buddha as your guide, and submitting yourself, fully guided by the Buddha. Then the Dharma, the wisdom that Buddha shared, the teaching. Again, the teaching or the Dharma, that which is only beneficial for your goodness. There's not even one single wisdom that Buddha shared that is harmful to not only to yourself but to any living sentient beings. Not only that, even to the environment. Whatever Buddha have shared is all beneficial to the peace and happiness of yourself, the rest of the numberless sentient beings, and to the environment that we live. So therefore, if you aspire to take the Buddha's teaching as a guideline into your day-to-day life, then you're going to bring immense of benefit to fulfill one's own aspirations, such as actualizing freedom from all the inconvenience that we experience in our life, especially the inconvenient, the worst inconvenience, which is called samsara, very much nature of existence, being in the absolute control of karma and delusion, which is the most painful suffering, which is most inconvenient in our life. We aspire to be free from all those inconveniences. We aspire to achieve liberation from all this inconvenience, this samsara. The method, the antidote to that, Buddha have shared, which is called Dharma. That which proven that it is definitely bring the effect of freedom. Buddha himself is the proven example. Buddha too, in the beginning, no different than us, and there's no, ever existence of the Buddha from the very past, from the very beginning. Buddha himself, very much like us. He went through ordinary life like ours. Then cultivating those wisdom that he shared, developing those attitudes that he shared in his teaching, he able to become who he is today, called Buddha, like Shakyamuni Buddha. So not only that, there are many great Indian panditas, practitioners, such as 17 great pandits, like Nagarjuna, Dharmakirti, like Shantideva, Chandrakirti, Ayadeva, Lama Adisha, etc. Those pandita too, at the beginning, similar like us. They came into existence after 400 years later. the historical Buddha came into existence in this world. Then they they too took refuge in the Buddha and his teaching, and they study his teaching, rigorous study. Then apply those teachings into their day-to-day life, and themselves actualize the benefit of the teaching, achieving those qualities that the Buddha have achieved, such as liberations. And not only that, within the past 1,000 years, the great Tibetan Mahasiddhas, such as Milarepa, those Kadamba Geshes, Lama Tsongkhapa, they are too similar like us. Ordinary people. And some more, those Tibetans, even more, less conducive environment than ours. The exposure that we have to the teachers, to the knowledge, during that time, Tibet was very close. For them to get qualified teachers from India was very, very difficult. Not like here, for you accessible to so many great teachers, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And some more these days through online. There's so many, so many teachings available, so many books in the past in Tibet. Even just to obtain, one line of Buddha's teaching is extremely rare, And even there are books, but maybe only one book. There's no access to like printing. In the past, they have to carve those letters onto wood. Then after that, they place the rice paper, like not a rice paper, but similar like rice paper. It's hard one. Then they print. Even that is not, not abundant. It's very limited like that. But anyway, they learn about Buddha's quality. They gain conviction in the Buddha. They took refuge in the Buddha. Then the Dharma, the Buddha's teaching, they took as a guide to their way of life. Then within one very short lifetime, or within few years of time, there's so many great practitioners came about, so many realized beings. Not only that, one lifetime enlightened, many those Mahasiddhas, came into existence, like such as Milarepa, such as the great Gadama masters, Geshe Tromteba, etc. There's so many to name. Each and every one of them achieve complete freedom from the control of karma, control of delusions, freedom from all the inconvenience of ordinary life, inconvenience of this uncontrollable, birth by others' power, like such as karma and delusion. Or then suffering of aging, sickness, death, all they overcome all those inconvenience, samsara, through the transformation that they achieve in their being by applications of the Buddha's teaching, by taking refuge in Buddha's teaching, then taking refuge in the Sangha. Buddha Dhamma Sangha has conventional representations and ultimate meaning of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and conventional meaning of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. The conventional meaning of the Sangha, then those of the individuals who took, individual liberation vows, who took many precepts, such as novice precepts, fully ordained precepts. But most importantly, take refuge into those Sangha who achieve the wisdom of selfless, the wisdom of emptiness. Carry, someone there who matured in deep level of compassion and complete overcome this self-grasping, self-grasping of attachment, self-grasping of aversion, self-grasping of ignorance, and they achieve the state of so-called the Arya state, or those Arya beings are the ultimate sanghas. So, and those who dedicate their life in the practice of the Dhamma and so the Sangha. So, so like that. So here, those of you who have taken refuge in the past in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, so while recite this prayer, then you can refresh them in your heart. That from now on, that I will try to live a life in accordance with the instructions of the perfect teacher, the Buddha. Then try to be among the Sangha communities where you can be inspired to live sustainable practice in the Dharma. Sanje Jodan Doje Jonan La Janjo Badu Dani Jazonje Daje Jeje Debe Sonamaje Dola Penje Sanje Rubaraj Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonan La Janjo Badu Dani Jazonje Daje Jeje Debe Sonamaje Dola Penje Sanje Rubaraj Sanje Jedan Zoye Jona La Janju Bado Dane Yazon Daji Cheche Jebe Zonam Je Dola Beje Sanje Rubarajo. Yeah, so I forget to mention this. If those of you who haven't taken refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, then you can you can understand that your true nature is the Buddha nature. Every single sentient being's true nature is the Buddha nature, the altruistic nature. So understand that my true being is pure. Whatever the limitations that you feel about yourself is all temporary, is all a conditional one, not innate nature of yours. Whatever limitation that you may think, if you feel that you are easy to get angry, the anger is like very much like, I see like my nature. Then if individual always get trouble by desirous attachment or jealousy or ego, or simply always say wrong thing from a speech, or simply, even not intended, but always, physically just bring inconvenience to us. Or simply you become an object of others' criticisms, others' dislike, etc. So whatever aspect or limitation that you may think that it's difficult to purify them, difficult to change, and until that you start to believe that it may be my nature, it may be pre-existent within me. One may think like that, but the actual fact, those are all conditional, temporary one. Those are not our true nature. As long as you carry the mind, as long as you carry consciousness, then you are so-called as a being. As long as you are a living being, then each and every single living being's true nature, ultimate nature, is no different than the Buddha. So therefore, we carry the Buddha nature, and that Buddha nature, if we condition with a positive environment, the Buddha nature, can be expressed fully. The day that when you're able to express fully of your true inner nature, that's the day we call you Buddha. If you're somewhere halfway, maybe you call as a Bodhisattva. Or if you are just starting, then you say you're ordinary Bodhisattva. Then you're just sparking a little bit, say, good person. You're good, this person is a good person. I think I'm a good person. So Buddha nature is sparkling. Sparkling or sparking? Sparking, not sparkling water. Sparking, maybe like sparkling water. So you see, so that's our true nature. So all this, comparing to the power of that true nature that you carry, all the delusions are, how to say, very small thing. We very much kind of regard the delusional thing is like huge. It's like an indestructible mountain, like that. Like how usually we define, when the problem, defined by our thinking and our mind, when any inconvenience comes in our way, it's like a huge like mountain. When good things comes away, we still see this is too small. So that similar attitude we have about our nature, the recognition of our Buddha nature, but and the limitations that we have. I mean, the actual fact, those limitations are just like a tiny dot, like that. Then now you can, what do you call it? Held up. Is it like that? Held high. Head high, not held high. Okay, held high. Hold your head high. So yes. So knowing that, then hold your head high. Yeah. So so like that. So you see. So you take refuge in your Buddha nature. Okay. So if you are taking refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, okay, good. If you haven't, no worries. You have unbelievable refuge within you, object of refuge within you. So you take refuge to that. So you take refuge to the Buddha nature you carry. Okay. Then not to get frightened by negative emotions, not to get frightened by those limitations. You carry sense of confidence that I can overcome them. They are so small, then you try to shine that Buddha nature. That Buddha nature has it is element of attitude and it is element of wisdom. So the element of the attitude is the attitude of love, attitude of compassion, attitude of kindness, all those good attitude. So you can, whenever you express love, compassion, kindness, your Buddha nature in attitude is shining. Expressing your Buddha nature. Then wisdom of selfless. Wisdom of wisdom understanding nature of impermanent. That one of the subjects we're supposed to talk tomorrow or day after tomorrow. The wisdom of impermanent. You see, when Buddha nature is not expressing, then our being is, our mind is deluded by ignorance or delusional graspings, like grasping of permanent, about our life, about things and events that comes in our way. And because of the permanent grasping, a lot of inconvenience, comes in our way. So if we have the wisdom of impermanent, then we very much understood the nature, and so easy to accept when the nature expresses, it is nature in our way, and our mind, very easy to, cope with, those changes, etc., like that. The wisdom of impermanent, wisdom of selfless, wisdom of emptiness. You see, unbelievable wisdom. Unbelievable wisdom there. So whenever you express your wisdom nature of your Buddha nature, then you become less grasping, less grasping to all the experiences, all the all the things that comes in our way, all the relations that express in between the senses and senses objects, like five senses and senses objects. It's so easy to manage the relationship with the mind and its objects when we have the wisdom. Otherwise, we have exaggerated, expectations, false expectations, hallucinated expectations, and because of that, then we suffer so much. So like that. So, so as long as first of all, you understand that you have this nature. Then secondly, you understand the characteristic of that Buddha nature. And then thirdly, then you uphold that Buddha nature as your main nature, you see. Then you are very much guided by that Buddha nature. You see, like how the Dharma guide us by taking refuge in Dharma. Now your Buddha nature, the attitude and wisdom guiding your life. Then, then the Sangha, very much the Sangha community is the whoever uphold that Buddha nature, those are your friends. Those are people that it's beneficial to talk to them, be among them. Then you get positive influence, you see. So Yeah, so that's the refuge. Then, okay, so there are a few things to do, but then I would maybe I better start the topic. Otherwise, we won't able to go to the topic. Okay, so the topic for tonight is Buddhism from the cushion to the real world. Buddhism from the cushion to the real world. Yeah. Mm. Yes. So first of all, you see, Buddhism. Mm, or Buddhism. Buddhist and Buddhism. So how person Buddhism?
The whole faith philosophy.
Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. So, so yeah. So Buddhism. What really Buddhism is? You see. So Buddhism, again, very much defined by the wisdom aspect of wisdom aspect of practice and the attitude aspect of practice. So the wisdom aspect of practice is the selfless, the wisdom of selfless. The attitude aspect of the practice is the non-violence, the compassion. So that's very much the where there's a lot of things going on, but don't know how to put it. So anyway, yeah. So so that's very much the what you call the stepping stone. Can say that stepping stone. And this attitude and wisdom, carries the purpose, the temporal purpose and the ultimate purpose. The temporal purpose is to to bring meaningful, more meaningful or happiness or virtuous, way of life, and overcome the inconvenience in our day-to-day life. The ultimate purpose is to actualize liberation, and by overcoming the entirety of the limitations, such as the samsara, its causes, karma, delusion. So that's the Buddhism, So then that teachings of the Buddhism introduced in many different ways, the philosophical ways, then the religious aspect, philosophical aspect, scientific aspect. Then most of all is a way of life. So Buddhism is whichever way that you learn and you actualize, Buddha's teaching, ultimately is to be a way of life, and that way of life that which carry the two level of benefits: the temporary benefit and ultimate benefit. Again, in the temporary benefit is to have a meaningful life. By taking the Buddha's teaching as a guide to the way of life, guide to our way of life, makes our life meaningful. Meaningful in accumulating virtues by purifying, past negativities, and protecting our three doors, committing new negativities. The ultimate goal is to, by sustaining in the virtues or the dharmas, the way of life in the dharma, then bring about stages of liberation, such as the liberation in the nirvana, or liberation in the state of full enlightenment. So that's very much Buddhism about. So if individual compatible with the religious aspect of the practice, then the Buddhism can be introduced in a very religious manner. So such as like taking refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, taking those precepts, like individual precepts, Bodhisattva precepts, and tantric precepts. Then there are so many different yogas to be practiced. Even to the beginner level, there are so many karma yoga, such as practice of seven limbs of practice, such as making offerings to the holy objects, like such as water offering, flower offering, incense offering, the music offerings, etc. Then there are the deity yoga practices. Very extensive, rituals involved, deity yoga practices in relation to all these different deities that you see. It has its own sadhana practices. So these are religious aspect of, practices in relation to Buddhist teaching, and it has its own unbelievable benefits, again, to fulfill the temporary benefit and both the ultimate benefit. Temporal level, within this very lifetime, the temporal level, we can understand the benefit of within this very lifetime. By living in those practices, it really discipline our three doors and make our life meaningful. All our actions of body, speech, and mind through those tools of practices become meaningful, and it becomes an antidote to purify past limitations and past negative karma. And it also acts as antidote to, purify the delusions, different delusions, and it helps to protect our three doors, committing, new negative karma, which are the causes for the future sufferings. And gradually, by perfecting in the virtues, accumulating enough merits, the more the merit you accumulate through these practices, you achieve stages of liberation, from small liberation, from very initial stage, like lessening the intensity or the frequent arising of the delusions, or lessening the frequent committing of negativities. Then very much our system, our mind, our body, speech, very much more and more, habitual in virtues, and habitual more and more in virtuous, less and less in non-virtuous, and that way, then deliver liberation from taking rebirth in three lower realms. Then actualize the result of those merit, next rebirth in higher realms. So even before that, within this very lifetime, you start to, life start to experience full of satisfactions, fulfillments, happiness. Your happiness start to grow because your fulfillment grows. Your satisfaction grows, because of the virtues. Then you have less and lesser sufferings, in relation to the journey of samsara, in relation to whatever samsara that occurs to us. We equip the immune system to not to affected by those samsaric experiences. And gradually, then you achieve the, liberation from the entirety of the sixth realm of self-existent. You achieve the complete freedom from control by the karma and delusion. Then you achieve the nirvana state of complete peace. No more delusional disturbances, no more karmic controls, then through the continuous sustainable virtue, and eventually your virtues are perfected virtues and start to accumulate extensive merits. We call the merit 3 countless eons merits, huge merits. Then you start to achieve stages of liberations from the 10 bhumis until you achieve the liberation, the most perfected state of liberation, which is the state of Buddhahood, by overcoming not only the limitations of delusion and karma, but also the limitations of the tendency of the delusions and the karma. So similar way, if you are not interested in religious aspect of the Buddhism, but if you are interested in philosophy, then Buddhism can be introduced to us in the, one of the most extensive philosophical wisdoms and attitudes that we can learn, extensive in relation to this wisdom of emptiness. No other teacher from any other religion have ever spoken, have ever taught. Buddha have taught that wisdom. Then there's a unbelievable philosophical treatise out there. You see, even just to learn very basic teachings on emptiness and bodhicitta from the philosophical treatise, it takes about 20 years, full-time study. It takes 20 years, full-time dedicated, no other job, day to night, a rigorous study. That much treatise are out there, the philosophical treatise. Benefit out of it the similar way as I explained, what you receive in relation to, following Buddha's path and through the religious aspect, the similar benefit. Now, if you are not interested in religious aspect, philosophical aspect, but then you are very scientific, you carry this scientific interest, then Buddhism can be introduced, the scientific way, such as relativity, what do you call it? Relativity, then quantum physics, the understanding of emptiness, the wisdom aspect of the teaching is very much similar. The technique, of course, the technique the Buddha have presented is numberless times, far more profound, extensive varieties, techniques than what the quantum physics have actualized up to today. Then the idea, what the quantum physics carries, similar idea, when you learn about the wisdom of emptiness, the same way, you see. Then as far as concerned with the attitude, again, it's a similar, like how the quantum physics actualize existence, actualize relationship, the attitude of self and others, attitude of, the reason to be, the reason, the needs of love, the reason needs of compassion, the reason needs of altruism, altruistic attitude, bodhicitta, is all again lies on the wisdom of interdependent existence, interdependent existence, like the wisdom of emptiness. Similar way, you see, there's no independent existence. There's no self alone existence. You see, even to the wisdom, easy to understand, but even to the attitude, you see, your happiness dependent on others. See, your survival depends on others. You see, and even in our common day-to-day life, the happiness that you actualize by expressing kindness to others is far more greater than the happiness being just kind to yourself. The happiness you receive being generous to yourself, and happiness that you receive being generous to others, is far more greater, intensity of the happiness. Check it out. So then you can intensify the happiness by increasing the number. Now you will make a generosity, or if you express kindness, or love, or compassion to one that is other than you, is far more greater happiness that you can achieve than being generous, kind, and compassion to you alone. Now, not just to one other, but then 2 others, 3 others, 10 others, all humanity, all sentient beings. Can imagine the intensity of the happiness that you're going to enjoy. You see, so it's all interdependent. You see, so scientifically also can understand that. You see, so again, by learning Buddha's teaching, the scientific way of understanding, how attitudes, how relationships in the virtues are established, how the wisdoms be actualized in relation to interdependent rising, you can achieve all those benefits as mentioned before. You see, now most of all, is the way of life. The Buddhism is a way of life. Whichever the ways that mentioned before that you follow Buddhism, it become way of life. But if you're not interested in all of them, but you can choose Buddhism as just a way of life. It makes sense? Okay. So therefore, now that you see, so therefore, Buddhism is not good enough just on the cushion. Even to test the topic, not good enough just on the cushion. Since it is way of life, has to be way of life, has to deliver the purpose, then you have to bring into in your every way of life. You see, so therefore, now you see, even from the very initial stage, when you start to learn the Buddhism, learn Buddhist teaching, Buddha's teaching, the purpose of Buddha's teaching only deliver, you see, when the teaching become a path, when teaching, bring result of the path, you see, so first teaching has to become a path. Just learning the theory is not good enough. The theory has to be, the theory that you learn from Buddhist teaching has to become a wisdom. So it has to become a wisdom. So when it become a wisdom, then your learning of Buddha Dharma become a path. You see, similar way, when you contemplate on Buddhist teaching, just contemplating is not good enough. Just contemplating not necessarily become a path. You need to, the contemplation need to bring about the wisdom of contemplation. Then it becomes path. And similarly, Buddhism just meditating, not good enough. The meditation has to result into a wisdom of meditation. You see, then the meditation become a path. You see, so now whatever you learn, it becomes wisdom. Then that wisdom start to influence you, start to take effect. Take effect in expressing the influence, through your body, speech, and mind. You see, similar goes to the contemplation. Similar goes to the meditation. When you meditate on Buddhist teaching, when your meditation is successful, when it becomes a wisdom, then that habitual experience, that habitual experience start to express, through your body, speech, and mind. You see, so now in order the path of the Dharma, that which become wisdom, either through learning, either through contemplation, either through wisdom, in order to bring benefit, the result of that path, deliver the impact, the ultimate purpose of that practice, then you need to have the mindfulness. Mindfulness and introspection. One of the key practice of a practitioner that we need to carry as a how to say, as a toolbox. Whenever needed to fix, your time you can use. You see, the mindfulness and introspection. So mindfulness in the wisdom that you learn, mindfulness in the wisdom introspection that you have gained, and mindfulness to the wisdom that you gain through your meditation in Buddha's teaching. So where this mindfulness introspection applies, that's in our day-to-day life. In our day-to-day life. So whatever we learn, whether that learning, whether that learning that which you deeply, agree with or understood, convince, that wisdom as beneficial, then the mindfulness has to, mindfulness has to help, our body, speech, and mind to carry out. It is what do you call carry out. It is benefit. if you learn the benefit of kindness, like being through the Buddha's teaching, to be, if you express kindness to the others, then you accumulate merits and you purify your karma. It brings happiness to others, etc. Then mindfulness, timely utilize, that wisdom in action. When situation comes, when the kindness is needed, then the mindfulness bring about the wisdom that you gain, about the benefit of the benefit of the kindness, now bring into action, delivering the action. So when the action is delivered, then you achieve the spiritual benefit or the virtuous benefit, accumulating the meritorious karma, and which is again is beneficial for your temporary happiness as well as for your ultimate happiness. So then the wisdom of introspection is helping the mindfulness to to carry the quality, the quality wisdom and quality action, so that you can able to actualize quality result. You see, so introspection is a smart mind that which helps the mindfulness to carry its quality, to bring to deliver, the action as well as the result, like that. You see, so so therefore, you see, whatever we learn, we need to bring, we need to carry out its impact in our day-to-day life. Otherwise, that few moments or few hours of your learning, or how many scriptures that you have learned, how many teachings that you have received, you may accumulate very limited benefit, limited meritorious karma. When you see, the great amount of the purification and accumulation of merit is when you bring into action the complete action. You see, complete action through that wisdom. So similar goes to whatever meditation that you do in your practice, that has to be expressed in action. So even from the very beginner level, Buddhist teachings very much introduced in three main categories. Then within those within each category they have again subcategories, but three main category of teachings are called three, the teachings of the three scope, or the teachings of the three capable beings, like small capable being, middle capable being, high capable being. So in the small capable beings teaching, such as practice of refuge, such as practice of karma. So the main practice is the main practice for the beginner level of Buddhist practitioner, is if you're able to, first you learn, you see, very foundational, what Buddhism is, as I mentioned before, the attitude of non-violence and the, wisdom of independent rising, or wisdom of emptiness, wisdom of interdependent existence, and attitude of compassion. You see, so in that wisdom and attitude, you see, from the very beginning, if you're able to benefit to the world, benefit to others, or benefit to any sentient being, do so. If you're unable to benefit, If you are unable to bring benefit, at least refrain from causing harm. You see, so from very beginning, what you learn is about that. You see, and when you meditate, you meditate on peace, meditate on love, compassion, kindness. All these are attitude of non-violence. Meditate on selfless. Meditate on selfless is wisdom. You see, so from very beginning, you start to you learn. You have to be more selfless. See, less grasping. Then become more peaceful within, peaceful also to the out. Then, if you're able to bring more peace, do so. If not, at least refrain from causing inconvenience, violence. You see. So now that has to be in action, in living, in our entirety of day and night. We have to live a life. We have to live a life like that. You see, if we live a life like that, and then wherever you may be, you're able to either bring peace, either able to bring contribution to the peace and happiness. I would say you're able to condition, you're able to cause and condition to the well-being of others, bringing peace, bringing happiness, causing and conditioning peace and happiness to others. You see, if you're unable to do that, at least observe the precept of refraining from causing inconvenience to others, inconvenience to the world, and that itself is already a contribution to the peace. You see, so now wherever you are, whoever you are with, you have to practice that. You see, so very beginner, Buddhist practice. If you cannot be patient, what's it? Yeah, if you cannot be patient, but at least don't get angry. Did I say right? can say like that? Or maybe I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I feel like something is wrong. The way of saying this two word works or not. If you cannot be patient but don't get angry, it makes sense. Okay. So anyway, so now you see, yes. First start, from yourself, isn't it? You try to, best you try to bring, inner peace. You try to you try to condition, to experience genuine happiness through creating, conditioning, virtuous causes. If you're unable to do that, at least protect your three doors from excessive harms of, such as negative emotions, by with the tools of mindfulness and introspection, using the basic wisdom of Buddha's teaching, understanding the limitations of negative emotion or negative actions, then you guard your body, speech, and mind. At least, if you're able to bring, condition, by developing great virtues like altruism or altruistic wisdom, then you bring immense of inner peace. Well done, if you're able to do so. If not, but at least you refrain by protecting from your three doors, protecting your three doors from the excessive intrusions of negative emotions. At least, you see. Then, if you're able to engage in virtuous, virtuous actions, speak virtually, physically act virtually, do so. If not, but at least refrain or protect your three doors, committing negative, harmful actions, to yourself, like physical harms, verbally, verbally expressing, negative, negative speech about yourself. You see, like sometimes some people, I think this sometimes say very bad words, not just about others but to yourself also. Some people do that. That isn't it. So even that is harmful. When we talk about what kind of karma you commit, then it's very harmful. But even just in the level of just hearing, hearing the negative words, expressing it, it creates a negative environment to yourself to experience more negativities. You see, so like that. Then now, in relation to others, if you are living with your partner, then if you're able to cause and condition for his or her happiness, do so. If not, at least don't cause inconvenience through your body, speech, and mind. You see, so this is what you learn from this teaching. This is what you meditate on your cushion. You see, so now you need to bring into real life. The real life is with your partner, with your family, with your children. You see, with your grandparents, with your grandparents-in-law, or with your parents-in-law. Maybe sometimes it's easier to practice with your parent, but maybe not so easy to practice with parent-in-law. So maybe easier to practice with your children, but not with your husband. Maybe easier to practice with your husband, but maybe not with your sister, brother, whatever. You see, so whatever you learn, whatever you meditated, you have to bring into that real life. An example, this is what I said just now, so this is from very beginning, the moment you start to follow Buddha, the moment you start to learn Buddha's teaching, this is very, very beginning foundation. At least you start like that, and so at least if you cannot bring benefit, at least refrain from causing harm. So that's a very main thing. So now, when you study the middle capable beings path, then there, you study more extensive about karma. Again, the main teaching is about karma. Even though there's teaching interpreted the karma in many different ways, like through Four Noble Truths, through the teachings of the 12 Ling of Interdependent Rising, teaching through the True Truth, Eightfold Path, etc. But the main teaching, the core teaching of all this is to understand the more detailed, more advanced level of understanding of karma, and the main practice is more advanced level of practice of karma. Karmic law, cause and effect. Then the very much you really live a life about the 10 virtues, according with the 10 virtues, then by abstaining the 10 non-virtues, you see. It's already, one should be practicing from the very beginning, from the very first scope. But now when once go into the middle capable beings level of practice, it means you are already, how to say, established Buddhist practitioner. Already established Buddhist practitioner. Then you have already listened, at least 5-6 rounds of the Dharma talks, or read, at least one complete books of any Dharma teaching. Then you can call, of course, as I mentioned before, you go through the religious way, then, first you need to take refuge, etc., like that. But generally, when you're practicing, Buddhist teaching, even without taking refuge, you can practice. So from that point of view, when you reach the middle capable beings level, then the practice of no killings, practice of saving life, practice of no stealing, practice of generosity, practice of no sexual misconduct, practice of moral ethics in relationship, then practice of no lying, practice of speaking truth, especially truth in the truth of virtue, virtuous truth, virtuous virtuous truth, especially Dharma truth, truth in the Dharma. You very much come to a point that you very much speak, everything in relation to Dharma, everything relate to the Dharma teaching. Then practice. What I say? Practicing. I should say like practicing abandoning, these 10 non-virtues, like such as divisive speech. But then rather you put effort to, harmonize. First, harmonize yourself with your virtues. Harmonize your 3 laws with as much as possible with the virtues, and harmonize yourself, being happy with others. Harmonize others, different people, like relationship. You be a cause and condition to bring harmony of different people, different culture, different faith, different society, and like in the large, then harmony between all sentient beings, isn't it? Then never to speak harsh speech. Never to speak harsh speech. Then only speak beneficial and pleasant speech. So now think about ourselves. How many times we speak harsh speech? How much time? I say when we relate to our family members, friends. So level of your Buddhist, Buddhist practice. I say the time how long you have been practicing Buddhism. Then you can very much define where you are. So from these practices, you see. So speaking kindly, then never speaking harsh, then always speak, never speak meaningless speech, speak meaningfully, and most importantly speak virtually. Meaningful speech is virtuous speech, Dharma speech, then called meaningful speech. Then covetousness is that. Then you now anything, your heart, not to indulge in desirous, graspings, desirous graspings. The three of the heart. The first one is to do with attachment. Second one is to do with aversion. Third one is to do with ignorant. You see. So when you are on the first scope, one is not able to get to that level of deeper practice of in relation with heart. The earlier the three of body and four of the speech, very much much more easier to practice. But in relation to the three of the heart, the first one is in relation to attachment, then second aversion, third one is about ignorant, and that carries very high level of practice. So very much you understand the characteristic, the definition of what it means delusional attachment grasping. Then you see limitation of that, and never expressing that, and always carry the attitude and the wisdom of detachment, renunciation, like deep renunciation, to renunciation towards all the attached objects, all the attachment, like such as even to the family, even to the wealth, the status, all the very much, very much directly antidoting to the worldly concerns. You see. So even middle capable beings practice, and then the second one is never have a aversion grasping, then performing action in relation to aversion grasping. The first one is performing negative action in relation to attachment grasping. Then the third one is the ignorance, the wrong views, not accepting and observing the karmic law, cause and effect. You see, disregard of the karmic law, cause and effect, disregard of the importance of Buddha Dharma Sangha. Then completely, stay in a hallucination. Carrying very strong permanent grasping, inherent graspings. You see, so now, so you learn that, you meditate about that. Now, when you are in a real life, in any situation, in any time, alone or with others, with sentient being or with the environment, you have to, you really have to carry the respectful attitude and respectful wisdom, respectful actions through your body, speech, and mind in relation to everything, and you abstain from disrespectful attitudes, disrespectful ideas, disrespectful actions in relation to anything, not only to the living being, but living beings, but also the living things. You see, so very much, very best, now carry the tools of mindfulness, introspection. Then, even how tiniest life that you may encounter, always respecting them, respecting their life, and protecting their life. You see, then if you cannot protect, but at least refrain from causing their life, causing inconvenience to their life. So that similar to the rest of the 10 non-virtuous action. You have to refrain from committing 10 non-virtuous action in relation to anybody. You see, in relation to anything, and then observe, practice the 10 virtues. 10 virtues. You see. So So like that. If we know them, but when we are with people, if we don't practice them, then the purpose of learning the Dharma didn't fulfilled. Purpose of meditating on the Dharma didn't fulfilled. The purpose of Buddha revealing the Dharma didn't fulfilled in that content. You see, so whatever you learn, the Buddhist teaching didn't become path. Whatever meditation that you have done, meditation on no killing, no stealing, meditation on, seeing the limitation of all the 10 non-virtues, and meditation on seeing the benefit of all the 10 virtues. You meditate, but when you are out among the people, among sentient beings, you're not putting into action, then that meditation didn't become path. If it didn't become path, then it didn't become cause of benefit of your own happiness and benefit of others' happiness. It didn't become, you see. And no question about it didn't become cause of liberation, you see. So therefore, yes, so that's similar. If you are in the higher capable beings level, which is where you start to practice Mahayanic Dharma, and Mahayanic Dharma got Mahayanic Sutrayana, Mahayanic Tantrayana. So even in the sutric practice, sutric practice, the main practice is altruism, great compassion, great love, great unconditional love. Then, the bodhicitta, the artistic attitude. So you learn, the amazing benefit, and the beautiful aspect, the benefit of love, great love, compassion, altruism. But when you are with people, when you are with others, you don't apply them. Then this wisdom is empty wisdom. This knowledge of Dharma, even it's about altruism, but it's empty. It doesn't carry meaning. You see, it didn't deliver the purpose why Buddha taught that. Didn't fulfill the purpose why Buddha talked about the importance of meditating on bodhicitta. Didn't deliver it, so it didn't become hard. You see, so and it is a very high level of practice. It's a hard practice. It is not easy. But if you are in that, if you call yourself Mahayana, if you call yourself that I'm practicing Mahayanic Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism is within the category of Mahayanic Buddhism. So if you are practicing that, then how many times you may fail, but you have to be fully living in the practice in your very best of relating all the Dharma you learn to each and every single, numberless sentient beings, each and every single experiences. You see, so all experiences has to how to say, understand or relate or express with altruistic wisdom and altruistic attitude. All experiences, you see, with everybody, whether they are loved one, whether they are enemy, so-called, whether they are stranger, whether they are human, whether they are animals, whether they're spirit, even to the nature, like trees, the soil, elements, the fire, water, everything need to deal or relate with them with a deep level of compassion, deep level of the bodhicitta. You see, whatever experience that comes in our way, good or bad, by the loved one, by the enemy, by the stranger, or even by the nature, even by the elements. We need to receive them and deal with them with altruistic attitude and altruistic wisdom in your very best. Here, we're not asking you have to be perfect. But if you're in that level, then you need to carry this learning into action in the real life. You see? So let's say suddenly, I don't know, maybe your shoes was burned by fire. Fire burned the shoes. So if someone practicing minding Dharma, you have to deal with that fire and that burning shoes with deep compassion. So there's no room to get angry about that. As a Mahayanic Dharma practitioner, you have no room to get angry to the fire, even to the fire, and no room to get angry to your burning shoes. You say, why you should be staying this side. No, why you stay here? That's why you burn up. I'm so upset about you. You cannot do. You say like that, or someone lead fire to your shoes. They say, why? How can you get angry? When you see in front of your eye when eating, you can say, don't lead the fire, don't lead fire. You can say that, but but cannot get angry. You have to deal with that person who's about to burn your shoes with much compassion. So not easy, isn't it? So someone come and slap you, or that's worse. So you say same way. You have to deal compassionately. Someone scold you, which we often experience. Slap maybe lesser, but scolding more. Criticisms, all the negatives that others relate to you, to all those negativities, as well as to those people that who did those actions. You have to deal with compassion. So very much, you see, in the family, it comes with your maybe inconvenience to your physical body, health, or inconvenience in relation to your partner, your children, your family, your friends, in your office, wherever you go, whatever way people relate to you, even negatively, you have to remember. You have to remember the teaching. And how fast you remember, and how effective you are able to apply the teaching is very much dependent on how well wisdom you achieve through the learning of that teaching, how well wisdom you achieve in relation to meditation on that. You see, that's why we need to meditate a lot, because we want to utilize those teachings in most effective way. We want to learn the Dharma a lot, so that this wisdom can be, so effective, so effective to remember those wisdom, so effective in application of those wisdom, so effective in, the habitual response. When you meditate, your system becomes so habitual, your mind becomes so habitual. Meditation is very much habituating on that topic of meditation, like compassion, isn't it? The more you meditate, your mind becomes more habitual with it. The more habitual it, more easy to arise. You need to meditate until it becomes wisdom. When meditation on compassion becomes wisdom, then it becomes spontaneous. You see, it becomes spontaneous in your mind. You don't need to apply reasoning. You don't need to process through reasoning to arise that compassion when it is needed, when the situation arrives. You see, like meditation on patience. When you succeed meditation on patience is when you actualize the wisdom of it. So that is called realization of meditation. The realization is, the spontaneous arising of that wisdom. You see. So then when any situation comes in relation to anger, patience is right there. You see. So like that. So anyway, now I think the time is already taking too much of your time. So even in the sutra practice, you see, then always you learn about the limitations, the faults of ego, self-centered attitude. You see. So now when you go among people, then you need to express that. And in what way? Like the humanity. You see, the practice of humility, the humbleness. You see, the humbleness, because of losing of ego, that you become humble. You see. So when you are with others, if you are practicing, if you are living in humanity, how much peace that you're able to enjoy yourself, and how much peace you're able to bring to others. You see. Similar way, if you live in a compassion, how much peace you're going to enjoy, and how much benefit you're going to offer to others, isn't it? Like that. So then, if you are practicing tantra, see, we meditate on cushion, we meditate on emptiness. We meditate on. So this sutra and tantra both. You see, you meditate on emptiness. You see, the common part of sutra and tantra on the wisdom. You see, there's one meditation called space like emptiness meditation. Space like emptiness meditation. So when you're on the cushion, when you're meditating, you meditate on a space like emptiness meditation. Everything like completely lack of inherent existence. With complete absorption, single-pointed. So now, when you go into real life, means post-meditation, then there's the practice of illusional-like, the wisdom of illusional-like emptiness. So whatever experiences come to your five senses, your mind able to relate them as an illusional-like, nothing to be grasped as inherent or true existence or independent existence. Even someone hit you, you immediately apply that wisdom. You see, it's not independent existence. But the harm that I receive from this person is not arise independent from his own side. Even you relate to the karma that has independent condition, that I create the karma in the past, or because of that, now there's a ripening result, the negative action from that person as a harm I'm receiving it, like that. You see. So, but if you carry the hallucination of inherent grasping, then it's everything like kind of like exists from its own side, very solitary, inherent, substantial like that. You see. So then now, if you go to tantra, then tantra is very much, a practice of pure view, absolute pure view. So when you start to practice deity yoga, then you meditate, on self-generation, you self-develop as a deity. Then you develop transgeneration, like entire environment, entire beings, you actualize as the deities, the celestial beings and the celestial mansion, celestial environment through your sadhana practice, isn't it? So now, when you go off from your cushion, when you go to the real life, then whoever you see as a dakas, dakinis, deities. Whatever things out there, everything is a celestial existence. See, so Buddhism must take from cushion to the real life, otherwise, not complete, not Buddhist practice. Okay, thank you. I stop here. Yes.
So page 8.
You did short one, yeah. Sanje Drubjo ne Drowaji Jamaluba De Sala Gubai Sho Emboje Maye Banam Jejoji Jawa Nyamba Mebaya Gone Gondo Pewarai Sho Pende Male Gale Yo Sambe Yesheno Gale Tende Yazo Ode
Prayer for the swift return of lamas of the Rinpoche or His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Fearless teacher and
of the children of the children. Material laws, Father and the Son, along with the Lady Master, all the object of refuge in He bestowed the privilege of goodness, holding the spreading the money, precious and complete teaching through explanation and practice. You wrote the armor of practice and never challenge. Incompatible, venerable Guru to you, never twice. And being single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one teaching, also get way through which all manifestation
nevertheless, and the great way the Holy Spirit before its ones. Let us now our incarnations with thee in glory for all generations. And on that prayer to continue also. Rama, the winner of the marriage, the infant of the makes me the life of the world strong and fast, the favorite gathering, the essence of the teaching. All hearts know the holy Maha, you are supreme.
Thank you. If in case anyone wanted to ask some questions, I didn't manage to have time. If you have urgent questions, you want to ask. No questions, then we can stop here. Yes, please. And those of you, in case if you rush to go back, then you can leave anytime, okay?
Different categories of the heart. You said one of our answers was applying good action towards dissolving the first, which was attachment, dissolve attachment. What's an example of a practice for that?
Attachment. Oh, the tree of the heart. Okay. Let's say you attach to in relation to the 10 virtues, you know, the covetousness. I think the first one, isn't it? We call covetousness. So you attach to something, and then you know you want to have it. If you don't, especially in someone, let's say someone have such and such wealth, so you want to get it, then you have this, you know, there's a strong grasping to have that. Then if you don't get it, then you lead to the second one, aversion, like that.
It's possible to perform some kind of action as like an antidote.
I see. Oh,
Dispel
okay. I see. So the attachment is rejoice. So it's something that you like, you attach to. And it can be quality in someone else or possessions that you just feel happy for their having it. You know, rejoicement, like that. Yeah, thank you. Okay. That's it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tuche.